Now that we have the foundation of our database, which includes tables over here, and remember each table has a bunch of records. We have records for our customers, employees, and orders. I can now create what are called queries. For example, if I double click and open up the employees table, I've got a lot of information, a lot of fields. I've got the employee's first name, last name, address, and if I scroll over to the right, it goes on quite a bit, all the way over to their hours and their hourly rate. Now what if I just want to pull up the employee's name, first name and last name, or just their last name, and the weekly hours and the hourly rate? Well, the table's not very efficient because I'd have to click and drag and scroll through all the other extemporaneous data that I don't need to see, like their city, state, where they're from, their address. So I can create what's called a query. And the query will actually just pull in the fields that I want to see. To do so, I'm going to go ahead and close out of this table, come up here, click on the Create tab, go over to the other group and click on Query Design. A little pop-up window comes up. I'm going to click and drag it so we can see it better. And it says, which table do you want to query? You can query multiple tables, but we'll discuss that later on in other training videos. But for right now, let's just focus on the employees. We can double click on it, it adds it. Close out of this screen. And now we have the employees table up at the top. And this query design is divided into two views. Up here, I have the table with a list of all the fields, okay? And then down below, I can add the fields that then I'm going to choose for my query. So for example, I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to say I want the employee's last name, I want the first name, and I'm double clicking on them. When I double click on them, it adds the fields down to the grid below. Last name, first name, tells me what table they're from, employees table, which is the only table I've got here, so I'm fine. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. I also want the weekly hours, and I'm going to double click on the hourly rate, so it adds those fields. Now if I don't like the order of the fields, I mean you could delete them. In other words, if you hover your pointer over the top little gray bar, and you see how my arrow is pointing black, pointing down, you have to hover it just right on that little gray bar. When you click on it, it selects the whole column there, the whole field. You can hit the delete key and it removes it, okay? You can also click on the drop down arrow and it also lists the fields that are available in the table shown up at the top here, which I could say is going to be, again, hourly rate. Now if you want to move these around again, you can click on that little gray bar right here that selects the whole range, and then after you click it and you select it, in the same area, click and hold with your left mouse button down and drag it over to the left, and it will pull that field over to the left. So now the order is last name, first name, hourly rate, and weekly hours. Of course I don't like it, so I'll click and drag it back. Well, that's all I want to see, so if that looks good to me, I want to go ahead and be sure to save my query before I view it. I'm going to come up here, click on the Save button. I'm going to give it a name. QRY is the three-letter prefix that tells me it's a query, QRY, and then go ahead and type in, let's say, and then we'll click OK. And you can see it adds it to the navigation pane here under its own grouping here for queries, its own objects here where we've got tables. Now if I actually want to view the data of the query, because right down here I define which fields I want to see, just come up here and click either on the Run button or click on the drop down arrow and click on Data Sheet View. Either one will work. In fact, let me click off in a blank area, let me click Run. Opens up in Data Sheet View, just like you're actually looking into the table itself, which actually you are. Keep in mind that any changes you make in this query, the query EEPay is going to automatically update the employees table because it's based on the employees table. So if I come in here and I query it and I go, that's right, Max Klinger is no longer 40 hours, he's actually 35. And let me come over here and type in 0.5, and then you can see the record is writing. So that means that I haven't saved it yet. I'm still writing the data here. Just hold down the Shift key and hit Enter and automatically saves it. So it should update the employee, Max Klinger, in the employees table. Double click, open it up. Here we go, Max Klinger. Again, we're talking about the efficiency, where in the employees table I have to scroll all the way over to the right to be able to find out he's at 35.5. So if I go back, if I go ahead and right click and close out of the table and I say no, you're now 40.0 hours and Shift Enter saves it, well, it's also updating the employees table as well. I'm going to go back to the design view of the query by coming up here and click on the design view button. And I want you to notice that what type of query this is. This is what they call a select query. They have additional queries that we'll cover later on and other training videos, but for right now the default query just to pull up the basic fields that you want to be able to view out of that table, certain fields, is called a select query. You're selecting what type of fields you want to view. And like I said, you can click the Run button or you can just come and click on the drop down arrow and do the Data Sheet View, Design View, Data Sheet View, Design View, Run button. Okay. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.